Hi, I'm Teresa from Cuppa Tea Quilting. I'm here today to show you how to use the Creative Grids Lazy Angle Ruler. This is an older ruler. The newer rulers have white markings on it. It's a lot easier to read, but I'm going to show you how easy it is to use the Lazy Angle Ruler to create this block. Now in my shop up in Priest River, Idaho, we're doing a block of the month with the aged muslin and the Creative Grids Lazy Angle Ruler. So we're going to do different colors, but this is going to be the border block, and this is called the Lazy Angle block. So pretty simple. I will show you how to cut these. What you need to do first is cut your strips, and I am using 4.5-inch strips, and then I will show you how to cut these. So I am using aged muslin, which is like a batik or a solid, so either side works well, which is great for beginners because you can't really mess it up. So after you cut off your salvage, you are going to be cutting what we call an A shape. This block is made of two shapes, an A, which is this trapezoid, and a B, which is a triangle. So every single lazy angle block is made out of those A and B shapes. So because I have a 4.5-inch strip, I'm going to line up the edge of that trapezoid with the 4.5, and you're always cutting on the solid line on the edge of the ruler. The dotted line is your seam allowance where you're going to sew. So I have my fabric folded together because there's no right and wrong side to the aged muslin. So now I have two shapes, and these are called right facing because the little point points to the right. And the block we're actually going to be making is a left and a right. So I will show you now how to cut the other four. For every block you need 4 of these. So we just turn the ruler around, and I always look for the angle. That's the easiest way to find it. And now I'm still have my ruler facing up. It's upside down now. It says 4.5. But now I'm going to cut along this straight edge, and there are 4 shapes. These are 4 A shapes. So if I was going to cut fabric that is not, let me grab some right here just to kind of show you. Because I need left and right A's, I'm just going to quick cut a 4.5-inch strip to show you how to cut a left A. Sorry, that was almost a 4-inch strip. That won't work. All of the lazy angle strips are always on a half. It's either 6.5, 4.5, all that kind of stuff. Always on a half. So now I'm going to cut the edge off to get a straight edge. Okay, here we go. Lazy angle ruler. Line it up with the 4.5. I'm going to cut it like this to get a right shape. But if I want a left shape, I need to turn my fabric upside down. And I'll show you the difference, how that will show a left A. But you're going to cut it the same way. So there's my A, but now if you look at the pretty side, this is facing to the left. These are facing to the right. And in this particular block that we're going to be making today, you need a left and a right, which again, batiks are great, or the aged muslin or solids, because there's no right or wrong. So all you have to do is flip it. You don't have to remember to turn it upside down. So I'll show you again how to cut a A shape, left facing, and now I have 2. So that's the only difference. If you're cutting a left face, you have the pretty side down. When you're cutting a right face, then it's pretty side up. So those are the A shapes, and like I said, you need 4. Now we need these fun B shapes. And in my block, I have 2 different colors. So I have 2 purples and 2 reds. And these are going to be your B shapes. And if you look, if I follow one here, now you can see that B shape. I'm still cutting along that same edge, but I only want the triangle. Let me show you how to cut those. If you want two shapes, or 2 at a time. You can also cut this singular, but I'm going to save some time and fold it over and cut double. So now I want my B. I'm going to line it up. First thing I want to do is straighten off my edge. And what I do to straighten off the edge is just use the edge of the ruler, the little 1/4 of an inch line, and I use that as my straight edge. So now I'm lining it up. There's my 4.5 inch B triangle. And there's one. There's 2 B's. But now, how do I flip it over? Before, we just turned it like this. This is the confusing part about this B, is that now I have to actually flip it over. And I'm going to look at the upside down. So the newer Creative Grids rulers have writing on the back with white little circles where all the numbers are. And it's a lot easier to see because you're not looking at it backwards. But here again, I'm looking at that angle, and that is my guide. And again, it's a 4.5. And there is writing here that is facing me, so I know I'm not doing something really weird. There's my right B's. So all there is to this block is 2 pieces. So I have a right A, and now I need a right B. And what you're going to do is you're just going to sew these together and form a block that looks like that. And you flip it over, and this is where we have dog ears, and the dog ears are pretty important in this lazy angle block. When I take it to the sewing machine and sew it, I have a dog ear here, and I have 2 dog ears, or maybe like a bow tie here. I don't know, can you see that good enough? Maybe on the dark you can see it better. So here's the dog ears. And the important thing, figuring out, you don't want to sew this way. See how that's even with that? And there you got a big chunk laying over. That's a no-no. You want to kind of even it out so that you have 3 dog ears and they're all relatively the same size. So there's 1 up top, and then there's 2 on the bottom. And when I sew that, I am going to sew right along. I'm going to start here in this valley, and you need a 1/4 of an inch, not a scant 1/4 of an inch, not a thicker than a 1/4 of an inch, exactly a 1/4 of an inch all the way down. And you should, if you have the 1/4 inch set on your machine correctly, it should end right there. So you're going to do that 4 times. So now if I have 2 right shapes, I'm going to sew these 2 together. But now I also, for this block, I need left facing shapes. So I'm going to flip this over, and I'm going to take 2 of my different colors. And now there's the left one. So do you see the difference, how this one points to the left? You're going to sew it exactly the same. I'm going to line this up, my dog ears hanging over. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3. See how that one's a little bit too big? So just scoot this guy up. And remember, in quilting, we have a 1/4 of an inch to play with. So thank God for that 1/4 of an inch, because that helps even everything out. And there we go. So now I'll take it over to the sewing machine, and I'll be back in a minute. These are my left shapes. And now I will do the right shapes. Dog ear hanging over, dog ears on the bottom. Oops. Start that one over. Sometimes it scoots over, so just kind of hold on to the bottom. And since this is aged muslin, I really don't need to run over to my iron. I'll show you, I can just finger press it. Okay, so now I've got my 4 blocks. So I finger press, if you've got fingernails, nice and crisp. There's a left, here's my second left, and now here's my right, and you'll see the difference. So there's the right, and that one points left. So all of this block is 2 of these sewn together. So I will take this. Now the dog ears, we don't have to cut these off because look how nice of a guide that is. You line that up perfect. Line these up down at the bottom. Kind of got munched on the bottom there, that's all right. Here's my other right facing shape. I'm going to crease it. If you have an iron sitting next to you, that's a good time to iron that. So this will be the top of the block. I'm going to flip it over. This is a very simple block, good for the beginner, lazy angle ruler worker. And I have these quilts all over my shop, lazy angle. It's one of my favorite rulers because it's so versatile and the blocks look like they're paper pieced. If you pan up to this quilt right behind me, those are all lazy angle blocks. That's a quilt challenge I did a few years ago using bee fabric. Okay, take that one out. So now all we have to do is sew the top and the bottom. And I'm going to crease that. If you want to get up and press it and iron it really well, you can do that. So now again, you're going to line these up. And one thing, since I didn't press it and these are both going the same direction, I'll just make that go the other way so then I can nest that seam really well. So now here's my seams together in the middle. I will put a clip there, and then on the end, look how those dog ears line up. Good thing they match because I'm on camera. Last seam. And here we go. There's our border block. And these were 4.5 inches to begin with, and now this should be about 8.5 inches or 8. Mine's an 8.25 inch squared. Okay, so here is my lazy angle block. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to do a block of the month in my shop using the muslins and change out the color. This is our February color scheme because it's Valentine's. It's purple and pinks, and I will always use a cream or a tan. So this is our March block that we're going to be doing. So these are the borders, and these are going to be stacked with all the different colors. So in my shop, the block is just a $5 per month, and I will post a video, and the finished block for February will have all of these same colors. So this is kind of a bonus that you'll have extra fabric and you can make one of these extra little bonus blocks. But stay tuned next week. I'll try to post a video every week and get us going on this lazy angle block of the month. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.